So the fight between Sorpang and Rito is now over, with, as I predicted, Rito acquiring victory in this pretty amazing fight. Kengan Omega back on top. The Berserker Ball, for the most part, has been pretty fire, especially the start of the championships. And Rito vs Sorpang as the first fight of the second round was absolutely great. We had Rito transcending, more flashbacks for both Sorpang and Rito regarding their training, and overall just a great fight. I'll get into everything in today's video, but before that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, it'd be greatly appreciated. And face reveal complete? Maybe? Who knows? But yeah, let's go. And some other good news we got is they're actually promoting the new Kengan season, which is currently being worked on. We have this released on Twitter here. They're just releasing some information about the fighters actually participating. They say season 2 here, it's meant to be season 3 because the way Netflix kind of labels stuff. The first 2 seasons are technically part 1 and 2 of season 1, so that's why it says season 2. But they're giving some promotion to the new season, which is pretty cool. We don't have a release date yet, but I'm assuming it's coming out probably early to mid next year. We do have Record of Ragnarok coming out early next year, so Kengan maybe the middle of next year. We'll have to wait and see, but this is pretty cool to keep note of. So the whole thing regarding Rito's transcendence is pretty much like this. He had his original fighting style back in Kengan where it was more animalistic. He didn't really have his own martial arts or martial arts incorporated with it too well. That's why he went to Kuroki, the pretty much martial arts god in his eyes, to train him in martial arts. And then after the first 2 years of training, he was overall stronger on like a base level, but he was kinda not himself. He wasn't fighting in his own way. He was trying to be, for example, Kuroki, fighting in Kuroki's way with his martial arts. But then with the more recent time skips, now it's been 4 years, he's incorporated the martial arts and all the improvements he's learnt in combination with his own fighting style, and that's how he was able to reach transcendence and the current state of Rito, which, yes, it was a close fight with Sorpang as a whole, but the final chapter, it was definitely more so on Rito's side, and he kind of dominated Sorpang quite a bit here and beat him up, which was good to see. But before continuing on Rito, we need to talk about Sorpang's improvements and what he did training wise. Pretty much went back to the basics and took a 2-year break to focus on this basic training. Punches, kicks, elbows, everything like that. Hundreds of thousands of times, and him actually knocking down this huge tree with his raw power. So this strengthened his whole foundation and bringing himself to a new level, which personally is a little bit of a disappointment. I wanted more like tactics. And overall, I was hoping he did some striking training with Gao Lang, but he just pretty much did his own training of punching, kicking, improving his base and just getting, I guess, stronger as a whole. It wasn't anything too incredible like incorporating new skills, even though he did develop the new variation of his Hammer of Burma. I just wanted more training wise from Sorpang, not just the generic him getting to a new level from doing basic training again. That isn't really the most appealing thing in my opinion, but it is what it is. The sequence of Rito actually clicking and reaching transcendence was very hype. We had all the gears coming together, him snapping and then absolutely smashing Sorpang, and then Kuroki being like, at last you've arrived at transcendence. So yeah, of course that is all pretty cool. Kuroki talking quite a bit these last 2 chapters. Still waiting for Kuroki to fight someone in Kengan Omega. What are we up to? 180 plus chapters and we still haven't had Kuroki fight in Kengan Omega. That is, you know, some sad stuff. He's in the arena. Who else is in the arena? Shen Wulong. We now have him sitting next to Oma as well, which is pretty funny considering he may be the one who Oma is a clone of. Then of course we have Shen connecting strongly to Roki as the person who Roki may also be a clone of. And we also had Naden call Roki the connector back during their fight. So Roki's connection to Shen is most likely more important for the future of the story. And Shen's kinda whole reason for being here was him showing interest in Koga after he learned Koga defeated Zia G. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on with Shen just existing in this arena and now sitting alongside Oma as well. It's going to be pretty interesting to hear their reactions to Roki vs Koga and what maybe in a monologue we're going to get to see from Shen as well. That's going to be very exciting. On top of all of that, I think as well the art throughout these chapters were also pretty top tier. Everything was coming together. Rito beating up Sorpang in the final chapter. Sorpang struggling, trying to keep himself in the fight, going for the Hammer of Burma, and then failing, and Rito countering him and getting that win. And Rito making it to the finals is pretty good. His injuries mainly come down to his hand that he used to pretty much defend the Hammer of Burma. Will that be healed in time for the final? We'll have to wait and see. I hope it isn't a factor of why he actually loses the final, but we'll have to wait and see. If it is, I guess it makes sense. Can't really defeat Sorpang without getting quite a bit of injuries. Now the question is, who will Rito actually fight in the final? Is it going to be Koga or Ryuki? I'm much more excited for Ryuki vs Koga than I was for this fight. A lot of narrative importance actually being built up in this fight. Depending on what happens will pretty much determine of where the story is going to go. For example, if Koga wins, Ryuki will most likely leave the Kengan Association with Kiryu. If Ryuki wins and tries killing Koga, that will most likely result in the same thing of Ryuki leaving. If Ryuki just straight out defeats Koga, we could have him staying around and maybe changing a little bit. If we have Koga beat up Ryuki significantly as well, we could have Ryuki as well staying around potentially. But regardless of how you look at it, I think Ryuki is most likely going to leave the Kengan Association after this fight. And I do have Koga actually winning, most likely due to Ryuki about to win but didn't have the will to actually go for the kill against Koga, and that's why he actually loses. Even though he has his whole new facade, he thinks he's someone new, he's gonna be pushed to his limit against Koga, and when he goes for that kill, he's not going to be able to do it, and then Koga is going to be able to get the counter with, of course, 2 Nico style techniques that he's learned we haven't seen yet, so I'm very excited to see what those are. But pretty much the fight between Kiryu student and Oma student partly as well, which means Sandwich naturally should give us a double fight at the same time. Koga vs Ryuki in the arena, and then Oma vs Kiryu outside of the arena, and potentially this time Oma being the aggressor while Kiryu is trying to be the one who doesn't really want to fight too much. That could be pretty interesting. If Sandwich does do that, I think a lot of people will be pretty excited. Finally getting to see Kiryu's true and new improvements and how he's kinda different in various ways. Yes, he's still fixated on Oma to some degree, but he is changed. He's not as, crazy psycho, seeing hallucinations of Nico, everything like that. But who knows, we could get that. That'll be pretty cool. That's what I want. Rito vs Sorpang was a very great fight. I enjoyed it immensely. Rito advances to the finals, and Sorpang has acquired another L, but being fair though, he did get that huge win against Cosmo in the Berserker Ball, so Sorpang fans should be fairly happy because defeating Cosmo, I don't think many people really expected, and that was an insane win, but now it's Rito's time to shine, and he has made it to the final, and I am betting on his victory for the whole Berserker Ball. But that's pretty much everything for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Face reveal, kinda. I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't already, make sure to check out all the other stuff in the description. Shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. And that's it, guys. Peace.